Hi, it is iYikkam time again. So after I show the evidence on Yang Tai Chi is unrelated to Wing Chun, I got many questions or messages, and one which I encounter, which is really common within all these messages, is that asking me, so how can you know the ancient writing you present is true? Okay, it's not a fake one. Well, my common answer to people who ask me that is, number one has to have a formal training on the subject. The second is one need to have a multiple point verification, multiple point data verifications. Okay. However, many people do not understand what I'm talking about: formal training or formal educations and multiple point or multiple data points verifications. Okay, so let me clarify this to you so I don't have to tell everybody. I just say it once for all so everybody know. Number one, formal training means, for example, a medical doctor working in a hospital. He has to have the formal training in medicines. Okay? One cannot just say, hey, I know medicines. One need to have those type of professional training. Okay? The second point is the multiple data point verifications. That is because today we have all kinds of scientific tools to verify whether a thing is likely or not likely. Okay, now today if we go to the YouTube, we can see that like the Tesla car, due to its artificial intelligence, it be able to predict accident in front of the car seconds before the accident happened. If you look at today's missile system, for example, one can launch a missile 1,000 miles away or 100 miles away and hit the target within a football field. Okay? Humans today have this technology already. So how is that the car, the Tesla car, which is not human drive, be able to predict accident will happen in a second and get a warning before that thing happen? Okay? So today we have a lot of scientific tools. Now, I like to share with you one thing. This is really simple stuff, okay? And that is the mathematical modeling, okay? So for example, what we call a curve fitting. The curve fitting. Okay, this is a mathematical, you can go to the Google and check this thing out, okay? Curve fitting. Meaning if you fit all this data in, you can make a model out of it, you can see the trend of what is going on, okay? Now the reason why I'm talking about multiple data point verifications is that it doesn't matter, okay, whether one single point is proper or not. You just put all the data point here and you see the trend. So the same with all this ancient paper or article or books I show you. Do I just take one as the fact and then I start to tell you I believe, I think, my opinion, in my opinion, those kind of stuff. No, I don't care. I just fit it into this mathematical thing. Very simple. Let it verify itself. The trend will come out. What is likely will come out. What is the common denominator will come out. Okay? Same with the 6-13-3 processes. It is this way. So it is objective. I don't want to say anything about it. I just want the data to tell me what's going on. Okay? Of course, this is engineering practice, like in Silicon Valley, we practice this. And of course, this kind of thing is very low level compared with the Tesla car have to be able to predict the accident might happen. Okay? So speaking of that data point, 1560, Qi Ji Guang. 1784, from the Zhang Henqiu, the Shaolin short strike. 1972, Grandmaster Yip Man. 2017, you can Google, it's all around the world. So this is like what? Like you put in all this data and you see the trend already. However, when you fit in this Taiji data, this young Taiji data, okay, it is not converging here. It is somewhere else. It is not here. It is somewhere else. Okay, so it's not here. It is somewhere else. You know what it is. That simple. Okay. Now, usually people tell me something about this critical thinking. These days, somehow, say 10 years ago when I start in the Wing Chun Miao list, there are a whole bunch of people say we have to practice critical thinking. You know what? Most people do not practice critical thinking. Most people practice doubting and self-righteous thinking. Okay? Because people who use practical thinking is often using themselves as the standard reference of the universe. Okay? Or they use doubt. You doubt everything, okay? And then you probably will be able to doubt are you a human being or not? And you can keep in thinking, critical thinking that way, and you get lost, okay? So critical thinking, if one really know the mind element of the 6-13-3, one know thinking is like enter into a room. Thinking has its usefulness. Like for example, when one calculate 15 multiplied by 45, one use thinking. But when one do that, one is put oneself into this room of the thinking without seeing outside. So the critical thinking most people are using is that type of thinking. You go down there, you set up some mislogic stuff, and you keeping thinking, trapped in that room, and then you argue the hell out of everything. Okay? So that's critical thinking. Not to mention, if people who know the mind element of the 6 core element know that there's something called stability. And most people today is one doesn't have the stability of awareness. So what they do? One is keeping running thinking, the thought in the mind. So again, to repeat, the mind element have what? Have the functions of thinking, intentions, visualizations, and if you drop this 3, you get into the awareness. Okay, and then there is the 3 state of the the stability of mind, which is the settle, the quiet, and then the peaceful. These days, most people have no idea they are keeping using thinking function only. They trap in the thinking function. And even if they get off the thinking function, their thinking, the mind system is not stable, that it always get back to the thinking. So example is very simple. Like you have a computer, okay? You're keeping running this program and then you have a bug. So no matter what, you always get run into this program, okay? Or there's applications in your cell phone and there's a bug and you're keeping running these applications and you think that that is the cell phone. You base that as the cell phone, but you do not know that there's just an app which is running and you use that as the truth. So the mathematical model I'm talking about is not using thinking. You plot all the data, you put all the data, you plot the trend or curve fit the trend or make the model. You look at what it is. Instead of get into, oh, I think so, I believe so, this is the orders. Okay? Now, speaking of this from 2017, 1972, 1784, 1560 data. They verify each other. And when they fit into a pattern, then you know something serious is there. Okay? You can see the 1560 echo the 1972 is a short strike, and the 1972 echo the 1784, and then they all mutual verify each other. And then today, 2017, is still saying short strike, sticking body short strike, and it verified by the ancient data point, the data point of 1560, 1972, and 1840. 1784. And then many, I can show you many data, okay, well, from Wing Chun side, from this side, from that side. This is just the main trend of it, because it's using this Qi Ji Guang. This is a Chinese classical, 500 years old. The Chinese not idiot to have fake thing here, okay? It's in the history. This is 84, okay? How many years old is that? 1900 until to now? 2000, 200 something years? You think the Chinese is idiot, do not know that this is the fake or real? And you can see this, the image of this guy, okay? So the reason I bring this out is that so once for all, one need to be able to learn how to properly process data and informations. Okay, stop using the critical thinking kinds of alibi. Okay, if one do not have a professional training on what is going on, like the MD in the hospital, one is not going to know medicine. One can fake and make believe and pretend. Okay, but it's never be profession. The second thing is you rely on multiple data points. When you get the Tai Chi, which is not within the bound of that whatever happened in the past 500 years, and chronologically is impossible, are you going to say that you're going to doubt this? And this is true, this Tai Chi thing true, you doubt this 500 years of multiple, and this is the data point which is off, the trend is true. They just show that we lack of educations. See, this is really low tech compared with the Tesla car, which is be able to predict what will happen in a few seconds before the humans see it. And this is really low tech compared with the missiles we can launch hundreds or thousands of miles away to hit something within a football field. Okay? How can the missile see where is the football field? You had to make decision. How is the Tesla car be able to predict that? You had to make the decisions based on data. What is likely, what's not likely, what's the trend? Look at the trend of Wing Chun in past 60 years. Number one trend is going the Bruce Lee way. I want to be Bruce Lee. Okay. Number two trend is Wing Chun is internal, which is have to be like the Tai Chi. You know, you import Tai Chi stuff inside there. Number three trend is people know something is not working, so even though they practice Wing Chun, they go what? They practice Western boxing, and then they practice like recent year BJJ. And then later on this few years, the trend is after watching the iYikkam movie, start to have this movie entertainment type of thinking, or Wing Chun this way, which is completely out of the reality. So it is like this data point. It is like this data point. You put the data point, you see the trend. With all this kind of data point, what is the trend? Wing Chun is going to vanish. Because nothing in the core, everything is this philosophy, like everybody say, I have to mimic Bruce Lee, okay? Flow like water, okay? All this philosophy. Taking from the Tao, Jeet Kune Do, did one really know what Bruce Lee mean? No, but it's coding all this thing. All this Tai Chi stuff, okay, the Jing and all those kind of, do one know what is the difference between long fist and short strike? No. And then one just give up, say, hey, you know, it doesn't work, I'm going to go learn BJJ, I'm going to learn Western boxing, or I'm going to learn Ngo Chop, or I'm going to learn White Crane or Fujian, or I'm going to learn Southern Praying Mantis, and then you import that into the Wing Chun, because it doesn't work. Okay, Wing Chun what I learned doesn't work, and then just blind the eyes. Okay, follow whatever the iYikkam movie say. That is the trend. We like it or not, that's the reality. And again, it's not in my opinion. You look at the data. Okay, like this one, you can predict with the data. With the data, you can build a model and then you can predict like this thing. It's that simple. Okay, you don't have to get yourself in. Do it objectively. So thus one is very important. One know the mind core element, the four function, the thinking, the intention, visualizations, and awareness. One know what is one using that. If you're using a wrong function of the mind, one is going to get trapped there. Again, one need to know the stability of the mind. If the mind is not stable, keeping looping or running into a certain apps, one is not thinking clearly. And if one doesn't know these tools and keeping rely on I believe, I think, I'm doing a critical thinking, in fact one is not doing critical thinking, but one is doing what? Self-righteous thinking and using doubting and critical thinking as the alibi to support one's desire to win the debate. And the reality is, if you want to study scientific, this day everybody going to think scientific. Scientific is this. Get the data, let the data tell you what it is, okay? So this is to share with you today. This is what it is, we can predict what it is, okay? It's not even need a rocket scientist. And here on, anybody ask me the same question, I'm going to refer to this YouTube so that I don't have to repeat again and again and again. This is to share with you today.